80-20 is crazy though. Come on, man. 80-20 is hard when anyone's fighting. 80-20, the only time 80-20 could be thought of in fights has been in the case of Khabib and John Jones.
Я, например, 80-20 я вижу победителем Армана. Я считаю, что его борьба, его прессинг, его говорить, это тоже надо учитывать. Он выше него почти на 10 сантиметров, если не ошибаюсь. И он больше него весом.
Daniel Cormier rejects Khabib Nurmagomedov's claim that Arman Tsarukyan would be an 80-20 favorite over Ilia Topuria. DC backs Ilia Topuria for his outstanding MMA record and expects a great fight when these two will fight inside the cage. Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev also shared his thoughts on Arman Tsarukyan's next move, saying the fight that makes the most sense at lightweight is Tsarukyan against Ilia Topuria. He explained that Arman has already proven himself as a top contender and earned the opportunity. Makhachev added that if Tsarukyan approaches the fight with the right mindset, he has everything needed to beat Ilia.
На твой взгляд, сейчас самый справедливый бой за чемпионство в легком весе между Ильей Топурией и Арманом Царукяном?
Ну да, конечно. Если кто-то когда-то, не знаю, в истории страховал бой, делал вес, он всегда дрался почти. Я не помню в истории, чтобы не давали бой. Арман сделал последний турнир вес, подстраховал бой, и я думаю, он должен быть следующий. Он доказал, что у него же была проблема с весогонкой, он доказал, что может спускаться, гонять вес, и я думаю, что это самый актуальный бой на данный момент.
У кого было бы больше всего шансов на победу?
Я думаю, если честно, если Арман выйдет с правильным настроем, то он справится.
However, Renato Moicano says he isn't impressed with Arman Tsarukyan's skills and considers him overrated as a lightweight contender. He predicts that Ilia Topuria would dominate Tsarukyan in a potential fight, arguing that Topuria's power and style would be too much for him. Moicano also mentions that while he has nothing personal against Arman, he isn't someone he would ever want to be friends with.
Arman Tsarukyan, eu não acho ele bom do jeito que a galera fala. Eu acho que o Topuria ia fuder ele. Não tenho nada contra ele, mas eu também não gosto dele, entendeu? Não tenho nada contra ele. Não é um cara que eu seria amigo, entendeu? Não é um cara que eu seria amigo. Porque, eu não sei, eu acho ele arrogante, entendeu? Eu acho ele arrogante. Eu não gosto de pessoas que se acham melhores do que as outras, entendeu? Porque você pode ser melhor do que outra pessoa.
Meanwhile, Daniel Cormier has pushed back on Khabib Nurmagomedov's claim that Arman Tsarukyan would be an 80-20 favorite over Ilia Topuria. He argued that such lopsided odds only applied to legends like Khabib and John Jones, who dominated without ever losing. Cormier made it clear he didn't buy the idea, insisting that there isn't a fighter alive who could beat Topuria 8 out of 10 times. Daniel Cormier said 80% to 20% is crazy. 80 to 20% is hard when anyone's fighting. The only time 80 to 20% could be thought of in fights has been in case of Khabib and John Jones. They are the only people who have gone through this whole thing without losing. I don't believe that for 1 second. I really do disagree with Khabib in that one. There is not a guy in the world that I believe is going to beat Ilia Topuria 8 out of 10 times. Earlier, Khabib made it clear that he doesn't see Ilia Topuria having any chance against Arman Tsarukyan. He explains that Arman has evolved into a complete fighter, using distance, range, and sharp kicks to shut down strikers. With added experience and more footage available for study, Tsarukyan has become much more dangerous than he was before. Khabib believes Topuria's style wouldn't work against someone so well-rounded, and at this moment, he sees Tsarukyan as the best lightweight in the division.
Давай предположим, что все случилось, Tsarukyan с Топурией дерутся. Ты кого видишь фаворитом в этом бою?
Я не вижу шансов у Топури.
То есть ты считаешь, что Арман нападает, да?
Тоже не даю. Арман слишком дистанционно дерется с ударниками. Держит дистанцию хорошо, ногами лучше работает. И сейчас уже Арман слишком хорошо. У него есть материал, который он может посмотреть и хорошо изучить. Если 3 боя назад, если он с ним дрался, может, он не так опасался. Но сейчас уже видно то, чего можно опасаться от Топури. Я считаю, что в данный момент лучший боец в легком весе это Топури.
Ты про Tsarukyan?
Да, я про Tsarukyan.
Khabib said that Arman Tsarukyan holds an 80-20 edge against Ilia Topuria. He explains that Arman's edge comes from his complete MMA game, not just his wrestling. With takedowns, elbows, grappling, and submissions, Tsarukyan has multiple ways to control the fight. Khabib adds that Arman has become smarter with experience, studying opponents closely and avoiding reckless exchanges. He also highlights Tsarukyan's size advantage, noting that his height, strength, and constant pressure would make him the bigger and more dominant fighter on fight night.
Выиграет он при этом за счет борьбы, правильно?
За счет ММА стиля.
Но,
Это не вольная борьба.
но будет проходить, да?
Арман может повалить, у него хорошие локти в партере. Очень хороший локти. Может бороться, разбаривать, спину забирать.
А вот в эту опасную дистанцию с Топурей просто не зайдет.
Не зайдет, слишком уже есть бои, он уже может посмотреть, изучить. Я например, 80/20 я вижу победителем Армана. Я считаю, что его борьба, его прессинг, его говорить, это тоже надо учитывать. Он выше него почти на 10 сантиметров, если не ошибаюсь. И он больше него весом, и в день боя он будет больше него.
On the other hand, Ilia Topuria shows no interest in facing Arman Tsarukyan, as his focus is already on bigger goals. He makes it clear that the ruling 2 divisions is not enough, setting his sights on welterweight if Islam Makhachev secures that belt. Topuria says his motivation comes from chasing greatness and building a legacy as a 3-division champion, a plan that reflects just how fearless and ambitious he is.
If Islam becomes the welterweight world champion, for sure I'm gonna push for that shot also, and I will move to the welterweight division.
Moreover, Islam Makhachev also teased a return to lightweight after being asked at the press conference if he'd go back down and destroy Ilia Topuria to finally shut him up. His response was cold and savage, immediately sending the crowd into a frenzy.
Также хотел бы попросить тебя вернуться в легкий вес, чтобы ты уничтожил Топурию, и он наконец-то заткнулся и не говорил ничего о бойцах из Дагестана. Ислам Макхачев чемпион!
Как ты хочешь, все сделаем.
Islam Makhachev says once he takes care of Jack Della Maddalena, his focus shifts to a potential super fight with Ilia Topuria. He admits the matchup truly excites him and suggests it could become one of the biggest champion versus champion showdowns in UFC history.
Твой следующий бой после Маддалены пройдет в 77?
Не могу сказать точно. Есть с Топурией какая-то интрига. Мне самому тоже интересен этот бой. Может получится сделать какой-то супербой. Или, как я сказал, посмотрим по весу.
However, Ilia Topuria makes it clear he wants Islam Makhachev at 170, not lightweight, highlighting the scale of his ambition. He looks beyond a single division, setting his sights in welterweight in pursuit of becoming a 3-division UFC champion, a move that shows he's not chasing just wins, but a legacy of greatness.
Islam Makhachev did an interview and said he's not ruling out coming back down to 155. Would you rather fight him at 170 to get that 3rd title, or would you be willing to fight him at 55 because that's the division that people say he might be the best at?
It would be much better for me to fight him in 170, and I will beat him and get the 3rd title.
Islam, the former lightweight champion, also addressed a possible return to 155 after his welterweight debut. He admitted the cut was never easy and said the decision would depend on how his body reacts post-fight. Makhachev explained that if his weight climbs to around 85 or 86 kilos, he and his team would need to sit down and figure out the next step.
Would you ever consider going back down to lightweight? Because with everything you said, most likely cutting weight is going to be only harder. Depends on how much weight I'll gain after the fight. So if I'm going to go up to 83 or 84, that's possible. But if I'll go up to 85, 86, then I'm not sure. I mean, it was never an easy thing to cut weight. So we'll have to sit down with the team and we'll have to figure out what the next move is.
Meanwhile, Ilia Topuria also expresses interest in facing the winner of Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, saying Jack would be a great fit as well. He acknowledges Jack's size and gives him respect, even pointing out that Khabib suggested Jack might be a tougher matchup for Islam. Ilia explains that Khabib is simply hyping the fight since no one will ever claim their opponent is easier. He adds that while he respects all fighters chasing their dreams, when it comes to competition, he always bets on himself.
Jack is like, he's a big fucking guy too, right?
That fight would be great also.
You versus Jack?
Yeah, I would love to fight him.
I saw Khabib said that he thinks that Jack is a harder fighter for Islam than you.
But he's gonna say that's the fight they have ahead. They're not gonna say no, we are fighting a easier opponent than Ilia. he has to say that. There's always respect.
Of course.
How you cannot respect like people who's fighting for their dreams and they work hard. But another thing is that when it comes to the competition, me against you, I'm always gonna choose myself.
After knowing about Ilia's confidence, Jack Della Madalena's coach cautioned Ilia Topuria to remain even at featherweight instead of moving up to fight Jack. He pointed out that Ilia is his height and even described himself as a midget, warning it would be a terrible decision for Ilia to step up. In his view, Ilia and Jack have similar fighting styles, but Jack is simply the larger, more physical version.
Got Ilia Topuria, the lightweight champ. He's been trying to get up to welt. He wants to go up to welterweight, fight for that belt as well. What's your reaction? Like, he wants one more title defense, then he wants to basically move up and fight at welterweight. What would your reaction be if he was one of the next guys for you?
He's my height, and I'm a midget. He needs to stay where he is. It would be a very bad decision for him to come up and fight Jack. They're the same fighter, essentially. He's just a midget and Jack's a bit bigger, you know. They do a lot of the same things very well, and I love Ilia. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch because I think he fights like Jack. You know, they're very similar. So, but I don't think he has any business jumping up 2 weight classes and fighting Jack. But that's up to him. If he wants to do that, fair play to him. I respect it. You know, and I think Ilia's going to be at a point like Islam soon where he can do whatever he wants because he's unstoppable, you know.
On the other hand, Ilia Topuria is looking to fight Islam Makhachev at the White House, calling it a unique stage to showcase the fight for the American audience. He said he would be ready if the opportunity came, but doubted Makhachev would ever return to lightweight, noting that once fighters move up, they rarely cut back down.
You versus Islam on the White House card would be insane. Would you want to fight at the White House, or?
Why not? I would love to fight in front of the United States of America.
Yeah.
I would love it. We'll see what's
But it's
gonna
a year
happen.
away, right?
It's a year away.
That could be perfect timing for you and Islam, though. What weight would that go down at now, though?
Like, what do you mean? When it
Like
could
what
happen?
weight? What weight class? Yeah.
I don't care with him.
He couldn't come back down to 155.
Once you try to go up, you never want to come back.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's hell, right?
It's hell.
Yeah.
It's hell. I had to go through hell when I was cutting the weight in 145. And now that I decide to stay in 155, it's like 2 different worlds. I have been able to enjoy the whole process. I've been more happier.
However, Arman Tsarukyan insisted that Ilia Topuria must face him before anyone compares him to Islam Makhachev. He argued that Topuria's path had been far less demanding, with his key wins coming over opponents past their best. Tsarukyan added that if Topuria had faced Alexander Volkanovski a few years earlier, the outcome would have been completely different, with Volkanovski taking over the fight.
If he beat me, he's gonna be on the same level as Islam. He gotta beat like someone like me, you know, who can wrestle. Yeah. He just had easy fights on his career, you know. He beat legit fighters, but not on their prime. If he met Volkanovski 4 years ago, Volkanovski just eat him.
Arman Tsarukyan made it clear he wasn't willing to wait for his opportunity. He argued that he had already done enough to earn a title shot and called on the UFC to book it, confident that no contender had a stronger claim. Tsarukyan stressed that he was ready to step in and prove himself inside the cage.
Are you like not in a huge rush right now, mostly because you also know you kind of deserve the next shot, but you're not in a rush because you have a lot of time to develop? And a lot of the people at the top of the lightweight division are a little bit older. They're coming to the end of their careers, like Poirier right now, you know, Max. Where do you think you fall in a few years? Like, are you not in a huge hurry right now because you are so much younger than the rest of the division? How do you see him phasing out?
No, I'm in a hurry. I wanna fight for the title as soon as possible because I deserve it, my spot, and I'm here, and nobody can take it because nobody deserves it more than me to fight for the title.
I saw
right now. It's they gotta make the fight. I gotta fight for the title.
Furthermore, Khamzat Chimaev also shared his thoughts about the fight between Ilia Topuria and Arman Tsarukyan. Khamzat Chimaev stated that the fight between Ilia Topuria and Arman Tsarukyan should have taken place this year because he described it as the perfect clash of styles, with Arman's wrestling against Ilia's striking to determine who was truly the best. Despite being close to both, Khamzat admitted he would be excited to see them meet inside the cage.
We know you're kind of friends with Ilia too. and you're friends with Arman. Do you see them fighting this year?
I hope so. It's a good fight for the both guys. So fighting is, we need to know who is the best fighter in the world. So the both guys is best fighters. So I will be happy to watch that fight. Yeah, it's a crazy fight. Arman is good moves. Like, he has a good kick, good wrestling, and the other guy has a good jiu-jitsu, a good puncher. So it would be cool to watch that fight.
Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen is convinced the UFC is lining up Ilia Topuria against Arman Tsarukyan. He spoke with certainty rather than speculation, pointing out that Topuria has a pattern of rejecting fights publicly before eventually agreeing. Sonnen claimed that his confidence came from inside knowledge, mentioning his friendship with Arman's wrestling coach as the source.
Outside of illness or even if I'm breaking news to you, then I'm not sharing my opinion. I'm sharing a fact with you. It's Arman versus Ilia. That is 100% the plan.
What makes you so confident, 100% sure, is going to be Arman Tsarukyan getting the shot? I've said that, I'm pretty sure I said I'd eat that hat behind me if his next fight was for a title, just because it seems so grim, Chael.
Sure.
What has changed?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, first off, I'm obviously coming to you with information, whether I should have or I shouldn't. Secondly, I was the best man in his wedding. His name's Daryl Christian, and he's the wrestling coach of Arman Tsarukyan. Third, I just spoke to Coach Cal. I wanted to come out and I wanted to film Chimaev training, and it turns out that Tsarukyan's in the room.
Chael Sonnen saw Ilia Topuria's recent comments as a strong sign that a fight with Arman Tsarukyan was already in motion. He noted that Ilia often dismisses potential matchups publicly before later agreeing, which he viewed as part of a familiar pattern. Sonnen even compared it to a fighter's habits in the cage, saying Ilia is beginning to build up with a denial. The only exception he added was Paddy Pimblett, whose name Ilia never refuses.
A bigger tell also was what Ilia did a week ago, which is said, I don't want to fight. And the greats always, they don't even know they have it. They don't even, coaches will break them down. It's the same with technique. A coach will have to break, hey, he slips here before he throws hook. Chuck Liddell had a big thing that he would blink before he threw punches. I'm just sharing, everybody has something that gets them going. Your job is to go find out what it is, but it's not any different in promotion. Ilia's first move for doing a fight is to deny the fight. The only person that he's ever openly said, I'll fight, is Paddy. Everybody else that he's getting ready to fight, he denies. It's just his approach.
Arman Tsarukyan further shared his perspective on a potential clash with Ilia Topuria. He acknowledged Topuria's power in the stand-up, but argued that his game was limited compared to his own. Tsarukyan described himself as the more well-rounded fighter, capable of mixing striking, wrestling, and pressure, and said the difference in overall skill would be clear once they met.
What do you see the holes in Ilia's game? Because Ilia looks like most people, if you're just watching him now, you think he's a striker, but he came into MMA as a grappler. But what are the holes you see in his game? I'm curious.
I mean, he's a good striker. Not good striker, he's a good boxer. But I feel like myself, I'm a better like a MMA fighter than him, because I have more, I'm more skilled than him. I got good kicks, knees, like wrestling setup. Boxing is wrestling against the cage, grappling, everything. He has just good boxing, and that's all.
Arman Tsarukyan emphasized that beating Ilia Topuria comes down to strategy. He explained that he wouldn't engage in a straight striking battle, but instead would blend movement and grappling to throw Ilia off rhythm. Tsarukyan's goal is to wear him out with scrambles, break his timing, and dictate the tempo from start to finish.
I feel like you gotta just keep pressure him, take him down, make him tired, because he gets out so fast with the wrestling. If you're just gonna stay and try to box him, it's not gonna work it, because it's his pace, and you gotta break it. You gotta make him tired. Like, if you watch fights where he wrestled, he got tired and so fast, and that's why we gotta make that scramble.
That wraps up everything from today's video. Let us know your thoughts on these matchups in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates on the upcoming UFC showdowns.